the tune, doing the shoulder dance, but it's all good. Whenever you're ready, Ingrid.
Excellent. Hey guys, how are you all?
Good.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us. We do have someone who's also going to be monitoring the comments and kind of helping us along with this. I've never hosted an online book launch before, so you're going to have to bear with me, and I'll take loads of feedback afterwards. That's fine. But I'll just start off with introducing myself. So my name is Ingrid Marsh. I run a company called Soulful Living with Ingrid. I'm very much similar to Daniela.
Oh, you've gone on mute.
Oh, sorry, that's my fault.
I'm muted. You're unmuted.
Sorry, I muted you by accident. I'm just trying to mute everyone else. If you could all mute your mics, that'd be amazing. Thank you.
Great stuff. So you can all check that you're on mute. We're going to kick start with a couple of icebreakers. Okay, my darling. So I want you to just whack in the comments box just one word as to what lockdown meant for you. The more creative that word, the better.
Hey, Annika, thank you for your lovely comment.
Overwhelming, I hear that. Okay, that's from Faye. Thank you, Faye. Reflective, I get that, Leah. Obesity. If those are prior to go to gluttony, I love that. Faith challenging, stress. Wow. Okay, keep them coming. Time, that can mean a lot. Noticing, crikey, change. These are some great words coming through. Obesity's got to be the best one, I think.
Isolation.
Great stuff. Thank you very much, my darlings. And just, ambiguous. Interesting. Would you effectively say that you're still in lockdown now? Do you feel as if you're still in lockdown, or do you think you're out of it? Yes. Why do I think? Yes, we are still in it. My dog Roach, exit, still in. So you all still feel you're in it. So is it just me who feels it's over? One step in, one step out. Okay, I hear that. Wicked. Feel like it's over. It is over. Great stuff. Okay, my darling. So before we go on and go into more of the show and have more of a party, we're going to have a really quick word from a lady called Gabriella. And Gabriella, I hope I say your name right. Is it Karaku?
Kiriakou, but don't worry about it.
So much more sassier than I described it. Gabriella Kariakou. We're going to hear from Gabriella. She's created it. She works for a company called Free Your Mind, and much of the proceeds behind the book is going to Free Your Mind, which is a really awesome charity. But no one's going to explain it better than Gabriella. So, Gabriella, can you tell us a little bit more about Free Your Mind?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So, Free Your Mind is a very small grassroots charity. We work with children and young people that are affected by domestic abuse in the home. So, we use like holistic therapies. And when I say holistic, I mean looking at everything as a whole. So CBT, which is like cognitive behavioral therapies, breathing therapies, mindfulness, a bit of Reiki. It's really varied. And we work with children and young people, and they will come into our sessions, and all our practitioners have had experiences with the domestic abuse as well, or similar traumatic experiences. So we're really unique in that we can offer something different that other charities can't necessarily offer. They feel really safe with us, and it may be that some kids come into the session and all they want to do is nothing for that hour because it's their sanctuary, basically, or they'll go really into their feelings, and it's just basically a place for them to be, where they can feel supported. And we give them coping tools so that they can help manage the experiences that they've had. I'm not actually a practitioner. I'm on the business and fundraising side of things, but I can see the benefits and the need that there is for Free Your Mind. So through lockdown, referrals have gone up by about 900%. It's just become really overwhelming. And you can see how that could happen. Kids aren't at school, so they are just at home, and the reflective periods takes place, but also the abuse starts creeping up So it's quite a big deal, and people are focusing more on this now. So recently the domestic abuse bill passed. So it basically meant that children and young people who are around domestic abuse are technically now victims legally, whereas before we were really the only people that were talking about it, but now it's actually passed in law. So it's quite a big milestone for us. And our founder Natasha Benjamin is a really big, important, inspiring person in our charity world, but also as a woman that's come from that domestic abuse background. She's founded the charity herself, and she's a young Black woman, and she's really carving the way for this. And in October last year, she was given the Lorraine Kelly Women of the Year Award. So she's, we're getting heard. So this is a really great opportunity for us to take part in something like this, not only for the money, it's absolutely fantastic, we need to raise funds, but also raising awareness. So yeah, this is great. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity to speak today, and for Daniela. This is incredible. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm not sure where Ingrid's got to.
Ingrid, where's Ingrid? I'm not sure where Ingrid's gone. Let me see if I can find her. But meanwhile, while we're finding Ingrid, I want to say that during lockdown, like I say, it was a very reflective period for me, certainly, anyway. And I've been watching Natasha Benjamin for a while. That sounds strange, but I'm really in admiration and of the highest respect in terms of what it is that she's doing. And I know that one of the things that I was really, my heart went out to not only people who are victim of domestic abuse in terms of, on that one-on-one, but the children who weren't going to school and who were in that environment and were being deeply affected by it. And it absolutely broke my heart, because I felt that there was nothing that I can do. And then seeing, that it had raised by, 20 to 30%. I was writing my book and I just thought, number one, you need to be mentioned in the book. Number two, it's important. This book isn't about money for me. It's about getting it out there, and it's about, I want people to feel less alone. I want them to, I think through every challenge there's some beauty, and there is a chance for reflection and a chance to really think about community, other people. That's the biggest thing I think that I've got from it. And that's why I've just said, it's a no-brainer for some of the proceeds to go towards Free Your Mind. And I have put the link in the comments as well. So please do follow them on Facebook and have a look at what they're doing, because you're absolutely awesome. So thank you so much, Gabriella. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries, anytime. And any questions, obviously just send everything my way, if that goes to everyone.
Fabulous. I'm not sure where Ingrid has gone, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give her a message. She's supposed to be interviewing me. What's going on? Meanwhile, if anyone wants to unmute their mic and just tell us how they found lockdown, that would be fantastic.
Close. 30 minutes.
Hi, I'm Marva. I just wanted to say that I found a couple of things useful in lockdown. First of all, I stumbled upon Daniela and Conscious Dreams Publishing and the Right Feedback Group, which has been really helpful to me. And one of the biggest things that came out of lockdown for me was the chance to just kind of focus on the things that I always said I wanted to do if I had time. Not necessarily that I have that much more time, because I've not been on furlough, I've been working all the way through, but I kind of had a bit of an epiphany where I was like, well, now or never. And so I did things like I started a blog, and I've tried to get my finances in order and just get the house in order, just certain things that I just kind of like, oh, well, I'll never get around to it, or maybe one day, or just keep, you know. So from my side, that's lockdown's been useful in that way. Not to say that there haven't been challenges, and I think like pretty much all of us is very kind of unnerving and a time of anxiety and stress with, you know, juggling all the things that we have to do in different ways and under different constraints. But it also brought some unexpected opportunities as well.
Oh, tell us about those unexpected opportunities. That sounds exciting.
So I think I've met a lot of people online who I found quite inspiring, that I probably would not have crossed paths with in different online groups, forums, things that I've, you know, I've met a couple of people who we discuss writing stuff on, or business ideas, or just new friends as well, because for my side, I pretty much, my life revolves around work and home, and I probably don't socialize as much as I would like to, or should do, or have the opportunity to do. And it's been great to just kind of open my eyes to meeting more people, even though it may not necessarily be face to face in the traditional way, but it's still a connection. Also kind of paid more attention to and I guess a lot of my eyes have been opened with, you know, the whole Black Lives Matter movement and everything. And I always considered myself reasonably educated on these things and kind of aware of stuff, but there's so much more that I've learned, and I've kind of just kind of opened my eyes to, and I've made more of an effort to kind of partake in, you know, like reading more Black literature, or, you know, supporting Black-owned businesses, different things like that, which I'd kind of done on the periphery before, kind of, you know, in a very superficial way, but doing these things with more meaning and purpose now.
Thank you so much. And Sonia is publishing a book with us as well called The Purple Potion, correct?
Great stuff. Can you hear me, guys?
Okay, you're back. Hello, yeah.
Sorry about that, my internet just went down. I do have a backup if that happens again. So great stuff.
No problem. Can I just say thank you so much for that, Sonia. That was really great sharing, and I'd like to pick up on some of those things a bit later. That was really important. But also, meanwhile, while Ingrid was coming in, my lovely assistant from the other room came in with, with this note. It says, Dee Bailey says, this is a good platform and very emotional to hear this being shared. In terms of what Gabriella was saying, Maureen says, so true, during lockdown, the number of children referred to me almost tripled in numbers. Thank you. Over to Ingrid.
Yeah, I wanted to say as well, Gabriella, for the much of it that I caught, for me, it was like the children can almost be forgotten in domestic violence, can't they? We talk about the partners and the wives or the husbands being attacked, but no one stops to think about the children. So I just think that's truly phenomenal. Thank you very much for what you do.
Yeah, no, it's also not just the violence, it's domestic abuse in terms of, you know, so it can be psychological as well. And that it's what we try to tackle is the trauma before it carries into adult life, and then you don't know how to address these things, and it comes up and manifests in your own relationships, and you know, so we're trying to get it early on. But yeah, as you say, like, it is sort of forgotten about, but now things are starting to change, and it's something we've been working on for years, but it's positive.
And you're right, because it's our early traumas that impacts our lives much later on, and we're trying to, and unconsciously challenges our lives. So you're right, it needs nipping in the bud now before it becomes an unconscious issue much later on.
Yeah, and it may be that you think you've nipped it in the bud and you haven't, but you might at least have had that experience at a young age to find out about these coping mechanisms, and also to say actually the environment that you're in isn't a good one, and but this is how we can try and overcome it, sort of thing. Yeah, there's a lot there. There's a lot of layers, but yeah, we're working on that. That's our aim anyway.
Quite. So yeah, just another reminder, guys, that proceeds, much of the proceeds from the book actually goes towards this charity. So even for that alone, let's support it. Besides it being a great book and a great read, but there's that extra layer that it's going towards. A lot of the proceeds going towards a great cause. So Gabriella, thank you so much, and thank you for doing that, Daniela. That's you really, isn't it?
Thank you. Oh, someone's come in again. I feel like I've got the postman coming every minute with the message. Faye, come and say hello. Can I say that I've got Faye, Joanna and Karen here. Faye is the head of events at Conscious Dreams Publishing. She sends me these really lovely notes that people have written on Facebook, really neat handwriting. That was actually Karen. Oh, it's Karen, sorry. Faye is an up-and-coming author. She's going to be publishing with us very soon. And I've got Karen and Joanna next door, who are also some of our authors too. Yeah, just if you can give me some with the Q&A, that would be amazing. Thank you. They're wicked. I love them. Thank you. And on the note,
it's a reminder, Daniela. It's a reminder that no man is an island. It takes a team, right?
That's right. No woman or man is an island. I could not do this by myself, believe me. The message says that D. Ali Mahdi, I'm sorry, I hope I've pronounced that right, is although lockdown brought us a lot of challenges, it also gave us time and opportunity to do things we never have time to procrastinate over. And Dillis says you look fabulous. Thank you. Dillis is going to be singing for us at the end, and that it literally was a last minute thing. She's on, so that would be fantastic.
Great stuff. Okay, my lovely. So any more of those notes come in, Daniela, just to stop me and let's share some of those notes. Yeah. Great stuff. Cool. So the woman herself. Let's talk a little bit about Daniela Blackner. So Daniela Blackner is an award-winning entrepreneur. She's a founder of Conscious Dreams Publishing, an author and a book journey mentor. She lives in South London, as we all know. Over the last 4 years, she has published more than an astonishing 80 books. She has mentored over 190 authors and aspiring authors and assisted them in transforming their powerful stories into messages and successful books. She was dubbed the class clown in her former years, so she decided to put that to some use with this book that she's put together, which is amazing. I'm going to talk more about it throughout the launch. But Daniela has always sought to bring joy and humour to other people's lives, and believes that laughter at the end of the day, out of everything, is the best medicine in times that are challenging. She has lived in Tanzania as a voluntary teacher. She has got away with speaking broken Swahili and has climbed the top of Mount Kilimanjaro. Daniela is also an English teacher with 11 years experience of teaching. Her own lockdown achievements, we've got to talk about those, of course. Her own lockdown achievements include, first and foremost, surviving lockdown alone. Yeah, there are many of us who are in our homes alone, and she survived it alone. She gained over 400 plus comments on a post about what to do with cabbage during lockdown. And she's also completed a Don't Rush challenge. And if you've not seen a Don't Rush challenge, or if you've seen them all, you really must log on to Daniela's. And I'm sure somewhere along the line, someone could put in a link to the Don't Rush challenge. But funnier than the Don't Rush challenge, is Don't Rush challenge, funnier than that is the making of the Don't Rush challenge, which is bloody hilarious. It is the best ever. In fact, it was the only Don't Rush challenge that I shared, because it was so hilarious. So watch the Don't Rush challenge, but watch the making of. It's truly, truly phenomenal. So her conscious dream is that we get to create and live in a world that is founded on equality, love, and unity for all. She believes that everyone has a story inside of them and has the power to use positivity to impact one another. Danielle, my darling, thank you so much for this, and thank you so much for what you do. It's truly inspiring, my lovely.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, research. I put the links to the Don't Rush Challenge and the Don't Rush outtakes in the comments. So feel free to log on and watch that at your leisure and at my expense.
It was truly fun. But Lushers, let's get going, because I've got lots to go through and I want to talk to you about. So we've got to start with asking you what inspired you to write this book in the first place.
Oh gosh, what inspired me to write the book? I think it was so many different things. Lockdown was tough for me in the beginning, firstly because not so much because I was on my own. It was more the fact that I could see it coming, you know what I mean? And it was the madness of some people's behavior in the run up to it. And it made me feel quite anxious. And I thought, well, if I'm feeling this, there must be other people feeling this. Examples are, you know, my local shops are absolutely fine. They're always stocked, no problem, brilliant. And I remember once going to one of the shops and there was literally, it was an outrage. There was nothing there. I was like, are you joking? This is my local shop. No one ever goes in here. And so I found myself going to West Norwood and there were people just acting crazy. You had, you know, the hand sanitizers that were like 5 times the price. You had police in Iceland breaking up fights because people were just going manic. And I'd seen a lot of this stuff on Facebook and I thought, nah, not in SE27. And then I went into the shop and literally there was nothing for me to get. And I don't drive. I pretty much walk everywhere or I get the bus. And so it felt like I was kind of on the periphery looking in and all this kind of craziness and just feeling quite isolated in the sense of what's going on here. Am I meant to be stockpiling? Am I meant to have all this, like, you know, tons of toilet paper that people are getting? You know, am I missing something here? And then I went home and I thought, you know what, I've done an online shop, so it's fine. And I'd had this book for 2 weeks in advance. And then I was waiting for the food to come. And then they didn't turn up. And so I logged in and it just said cancelled. Everything was cancelled. And there was no slot for me to book. And I thought, wow, I literally am not able to buy food unless I am getting up really early. And bless Jo, who's next door. She lives down the road from me. She got me at 7 in the morning. In her car, we went down to Brixton, we went to the market and I got the food I needed and it was not a problem. But I just thought, if I'm feeling this at 40, you know, I was going to say relatively healthy, I am healthy, and I'm struggling, how are other people finding this? How often do we think about community? How often do we think about other people? And then in the run up to this, I lost 2 jobs. So I work as a teacher, as you know, and I don't want to say stupidly because it was the right thing at the time. I was working in a school 3 days a week. I was only supposed to be there 1 day and I ended up there for a year and a half. It was down the road, loved the kids, the school's great. And so it was an honour to be there and I didn't want to leave the kids. But it got to the point where just before the lockdown happened, I said, I don't know if I can keep committing to 3 days a week. Can you just put me on a temporary supply basis? But they kept putting me doing dance, I don't know why. But which consisted of me just putting Just Dance on and they just danced and I was on the computer. But after that, I remember getting a message from the cover supervisor and she said, look, I've got good news or bad news. I don't know which one it's going to be for you. And I said, well, if it means I haven't got a job, it's going to be bad news. And she said, well, you know, pretty much school's closed on Friday and your last day is today because Key Stage 3 are going home and we won't need you for Thursday and Friday. And I was like, are you joking? On the same day, I also do financial education workshops in schools. And I just had email upon email saying all of these were cancelled. And so I gave myself 3 days of just not thinking about it. And to be honest, a lot of rum and coke was involved. And then after that stage, I said, right, I need to have a strategic plan, which meant, what am I going to do financially? What's available to me? How am I going to sustain myself? Once I got through all of that, I managed to enjoy lockdown and enjoy the kind of solace and the being able to work from home and the flexibility of it and the kind of blank canvas idea of it. And And so I just wanted to create something, because I understand that there's so many people, even if they're within, you know, isolating within a family, who may feel alone. And I think when in times where we feel fear and we feel stress and we feel a sense of uncertainty, we've got to have duality. We've got to have some kind of laughter. We've got to have some kind of freedom in it. And so I kind of created a dark sense of humor about the whole thing, and that's where it came from. I wanted to create something that made us laugh, but also to reflect.
Yeah, and the book does that. It really does do both sides of things. It is incredibly funny. And then we get to another section at the back where I thought, oh, wow, this is so deep and so meaningful. So it really is an all-rounded, it is really Daniela, I felt, an expression of Daniela, that humor, yet that deepness and that insightfulness. So yeah, thanks for sharing that, Daniela. For me, it also felt like this could almost be a book that could be used sort of like 50 years or 100 years from now, like in classrooms as a form of history, to remind people of what we went through. And then I kind of tie that in, like you said, that your mission is founded on equality, love, unity. Was the book a part of your mission for now and the future?
Oh, I can see why you're interviewing me. You got deep questions. Was it a part of my mission for now and the future? I think, good question. When I was writing it, I was writing it in hindsight, because I think visualization is really important. And so I wanted to write it in a sense of like telling our kids, this is what we went through. Even though we're going through it now, let's imagine the outcome. Let's imagine us reflecting on what's gone through and the strength that we've gained through it. And so my mission is really to document just a snapshot, because this is a snapshot in history, but also to look at not wasting this snapshot, but looking at how we can use this snapshot to learn and grow. So the last chapter is about lockdown lessons. How can we learn and grow? And I think through every challenge, there's got to be growth. And so it's whatever people take from it, really. You can read it on a surface level, have a laugh, have a giggle, but you can also read it on another level as well, which is about introspection.
Yeah, no, I picked that up. So my favorite character in the book, there was several favorites, but my favorite had to be Lockdown Roadman. And for those of you who don't know, there's a number of different characters in the book. And I was in there, and I felt there's a part of me I had to reflect on, but we'll touch on that in a second. But there was the roadman. And I wouldn't mind if you were to read that extract from the book, if that's okay, Daniela.
I would love that. He's also my favourite character. And it came from the fact that these guys were all around. It's like, dude, do you not realise we're all stressed around here right now? It's not the time for chirpsing. So there's little sketches that I don't think you can see, but there's sketches to go with each character. So the first section is all about the different characters. Here is Lockdown Roadman, and feel free to type in the comments what you think of this person, and if you've like come across this person. Whew. I have some rum and coke before I read this because I feel a little bit nervous. I'm not used to having a spotlight on me in this way. I'm used to, giving a platform for other authors. I'm used to interviewing, so now it's like I'm having to read my own stuff. Okay. All right. Lockdown Roadman. Women, just when you thought it was safe, just when you thought it was okay to walk down the street without being accosted by what we affectionately call the roadman, we realised just how wrong we were. If anything, one thing we should all have learned during this time would be how mindful of each other's space we should be. How to be mindful of each other's space. Show a little patience and slow down. Well, space and patience and slow down aren't in Lockdown Roadman's vocabulary. In fact, if anything, they're simply speeding up. Ladies, you know the roadman I'm talking about, and if you don't, you're lucky. He's the one that stands on street corners or outside betting shops and newsagents waiting to find the exact moment to screech any of the following. Pretty gal, I like your eyes, beautiful, in that voice. Or any variation of, where your man? These include, why you have no man? You have man? Pretty thing like you have no man? Or if you look anything like me, you get personalised lyrics such as, I can't stand this, such as Browning. which progresses to big batty girl. So no, somehow the lockdown roadman's chirping game doesn't seem to have been hampered by lockdown, unfortunately. And I'm starting to wonder whether they're listed as essential workers and we somehow missed the memo. Now, what I've surmised after studying their habits is that although the frequency of their lyrics may have decreased as there are fewer sensible people outside, the intensity has increased. It's almost like a panic desperation to get lockdown girl being his words, not mine, as soon as possible. With desperation, the laughter lines around the eyes appear friendlier and the lyrics have a certain softness to them. Hey, beautiful, sweet girl, sound lighter and leave a softer fragrance wafting in the air. However, the spell is quickly broken when he comes swaggering towards you for your number, breaking all manner of social distancing rules. This leaves women running for their lives, leaving lockdown roadman to wait patiently until its next victim walks by to buy some essential tampons. So why are the lyrics softer and the desperation levels intensified at this time? Well, simply because lockdown roadman spends most of his time outside. He hasn't yet made his house a home. He can't cook, won't cook, misses his grandma's cooking, and is so desperately willing to fast track his single status to lockdown so that he can be off the streets, taken care of, and fed 3 meals a day. Don't be fooled, ladies. We're not lockdown girls. How to spot a lockdown roadman. Key phrases: sweet girl, hey girl, yes girl. Demeanor: needs to make moves quick, as he doesn't know where his next meal is coming from. That's lockdown roadman.
Oh, there's a bit more. Sorry, darling. Oh, that is what I was. Thank you, my darling. The bit I loved in there was looking for a lockdown girl and deemed as one of the essential workers. I thought you are so very funny. Did anybody meet a lockdown man over the period? Please let us know in the comments box. And what was your experience on that? If you met a lockdown. I thought it was funny seeing them in a mask and still trying to skank down the street, still trying to look cool with a bloody mask on their face.
And you probably been hearing it's like, what?
Yeah. Thank you, Scotches. I want to move on as well. Let's see if there's any comment. Yep, I can spot them a mile away, says Debbie Worrell. And Evelyn Brink says, oh, I missed that one. Not exclusively in person, online dating creepers got us. And she touches on that in the book as well, about the dating experience during lockdown, which is fantastic. Thank you so much, Leah. Okay, I also want to talk about the lockdown life coach, because there was a part of me that felt, I worried, and I thought, crikey, was that me? The lockdown life coach is the one who, you know, she's just like, she's managing all of it. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And she's putting out you've got to be like this now. You've got to do this. You've got to have an online course. You've got to have this going, without any empathy for those who are actually suffering. But you made me feel better when I discussed this with you, to say that it wasn't me, but I did worry.
It's not you at all.
Thank you, Don. But so if you can read Lockdown Life Coach for us, and then I'll tell you why I did think it was me. And I just want to take a bit more information from that as well, my darling.
Okay, no worries. I'm just letting people in. Okay, cool. I'll put a link to the book in the comments as well. So, Lockdown Life Coach. And I came across quite a bit of this on Facebook, and I came across a lot of posts that were talking about, let us be in our grief. Let us be in our, feeling of uncertainty. Lockdown Life Coach. Lockdown Life Coaches are stressing a lot of people out. They mean well, but their well-meaning suggestions are often not welcome. These coaches are trialing out endless videos and relentless content, delivering TED-style talks whilst doing a handstand and telling everyone else they should be clearing out their chakras and learning a new language. Lockdown life coaches are saturating Facebook and Instagram posts, telling, and in some cases, lecturing people to stop feeling depressed and deflated and get out there, evolve, change, find a new hobby and grow. Whilst I personally believe this is a great time for us to reflect and do all the self-discovery work, it's not for everyone. And what's needed more is compassion. Many people have lost their jobs, feel purposeless, contracted illnesses and lost loved ones. Some people are fighting their own demons, and others have simply lost motivation whilst adjusting to this upheaval. The last thing they need is to feel pressured to move, transform, grow. Sometimes people need or be given permission to just be. Now, there are many astute and compassionate lockdown life coaches like Ingrid who get this, and that's beautiful to see. But it's the pushy ones that have taken over, the ones telling us to snap out of it, and who post memes that say, if you don't come up, this is actually one that's so. If you don't come out of lockdown with a new skill, your side hustle started, or more knowledge, you never lack time, you lack discipline. How is that helpful when humanity is living through a global pandemic? Never before in modern history has the world been in such a situation, global lockdown. Overnight, the way we live has effectively come to an end and may never go back to normal. What's needed here isn't only compassion, but also guidance and reassurance as people adjust to this incredible change. How to spot a lockdown life coach. Key phrases: learn a new language, find a new hobby, stop procrastinating, clear out your chakras now. You'll never get an opportunity like this again. Demeanor, eager and excited, grand gestures, convoluted phrases and sentences larger than life.
Thank you, my darling. Okay, so being honest, guys, did anybody come across a post that just really got up your nose? Did you get subjected to a lockdown life coach and just thought, hold on a minute, like, give us a break? Or were you one of them? Were you one of those like, oh, get out there, get over it, do this, do that, grow, transform? Put them in the comments box. Let's hear what you have to say.
Oh, my friend Mathrine's on here. Comment. And
Debbie said she clear social media coach. She didn't want any post that put any pressure on others. Well done, yeah. Beverly. That was a good way to go about it. Anyone else? How did you deal with the lockdown life coaches? Did you find them useful? Or did they get on your last nerve?
You know how I felt about it.
Okay, so hopefully there wasn't too many of those. Fantastic. Okay, my darling. So, Daniel you have a competition for us. Is that right, Daniela?
I do. We could do the competition now if you want.
Yeah, I'd like you to lead into that now. If that's
who wants to do the competition? Tap yes. Let us know what the competition involves of. Oh gosh, I've got notifications keep coming up. The competition is this. Please like, share, and comment on this. If you're online, if you go to my Facebook page, this is streaming live. So if you like, comment and share, and then one of my lovely assistants next door, eating up all the food and drink, they will pick somebody to be the winner of Lockdown Life. There's another competition, so I'm going to give away 2 books. So that's the first one, and the second one I'll do at the end. So this one is, if you just take a little bit of time now to go on to, I can see Ingrid on it right now. Ingrid Vidal on it right now. So like, share and comment on the Facebook stream, and then one of my lovely authors next door will pick someone by the end of this to win a signed copy of the book. Thank you.
Great stuff. Okay, guys, while you're doing that, I want to talk about another character in the book, if that's all right with you, Daniela. I want to talk about the Lockdown Dream Team. And I'm going to read an extract from that, if that's okay. Are you with me?
Go ahead.
Great stuff. So I'm going to just read an extract from the Lockdown Dream Team, if that's all right. So the Lockdown Dream Team, they're the ones flooding your social media timeline with pictures of them sitting down to a perfectly cooked, healthy dinner, playing family Monopoly, playing footsie in the garden, and doing science experiments at home. This couple seems to always be smiling. But what we don't know is that the little one is just on a shit in the paddling pool, and the cat has just butchered a wood pigeon in the garden. But these positive rays of sunshine keep the rest of us going and remind us of the importance of teamwork through a crisis. No, what I thought was really interesting about that is that you saw a positive spin on the dream team. Well, I've always hated the dream team. I've always felt that they've added to people's anxieties because they portray the perfect family and they usually get on my last nerve. But you saw a positive spin and actually saw them as rays of sunshine. Can you tell us why you felt that way and not the way I saw it?
Well, it was twofold. It was rays of sunshine, but what we forget is that I said that what we don't know is that their youngest has just done a shit in the paddling pool. So it's about what's portrayed on social media isn't always the reality of what's going on. And I feel that, you know, going back to mental health, which is something that I'm an advocate of really building awareness around, is that I feel sometimes when people are posting, you know, and that's why I try and post the reality. If I'm feeling shit, I'm feeling shit. If things are a struggle, I'll let you know, like keep it real. So I think, especially with Instagram and especially with younger people, when they see, you know, hey, here's me doing my selfie and my perfect life and my perfect business and my perfect, you know, family, people will show you only what they want you to see, only so far as they let you in. You don't see what's under that iceberg. And so that's what they're kind of alluding to or blatantly saying, that the young one's just done a shit in the paddling pool. So I see it as twofold, that we need to not take things at face value, but we can also take strength from seeing that family unit. I'm a very big person on visualization. So I can see that and feel, oh my God, this is making me feel even more isolated, even more alone. I'm comparing myself to somebody else's reality, or I can see it as, I would like some of that reality for myself. Okay, cool. How is that reality going to make me feel? And focus on that and have that as something in our vision to aim for. So it's the twofold of what's the reality behind what we see, but also how can we encompass some of that love for ourselves? Does that make sense?
I hear you. It does indeed. It does indeed, my darling.
You thought this was a funny book, but I feel like I'm going a bit deep.
It is funny, but I've always said that the best comedians are also very deep. You know, they're always hitting on really deep issues and really big issues in the world and making humor of them. So no, I think you've done that beautifully, my darling.
Thank you.
Good stuff. So in the book, you also mentioned that lockdown meant that we had to redefine the term lifestyle and leisure. So there was a bit I'd love you to read around lockdown shopping, if that's okay, my darling.
Ooh, lockdown shopping. So the second section of the book is all about the lockdown activities, and I shall read lockdown shopping. Where is it? Dilys,
I know you've touched on it briefly already, but it was just too funny, so I had to go into this.
I've got it. Dilys, if you're still on, let us know, because your song would be amazing. Okay, lockdown shopping. Having witnessed some of the madness in the shops before the lockdown announcement, I understand the importance of treasuring the food we buy, realizing that my quiet local shops were now too becoming invaded by the toilet paper and pasta thieves. I ventured out to the supermarkets. And I just want to say as a side note, I don't generally go to supermarkets. I find them stressful, the bright lights, too many people, the music's awful. So, but I found myself going there. Never again. Police in Iceland, queues the size of an army parade, empty shelves looking as though they've been attacked by vultures, hand sanitizer going for 5 times the price, delivery drivers getting accosted for toilet paper outside Sainsbury's. It was after this trip and after the online shopping I'd ordered 3 weeks previously was cancelled that I locked myself down. No lie, I locked myself down. The chaotic behaviour of the people panic buying brought on full-on anxiety. Fast forward 4 weeks. For some of us, going to the shops is fast becoming the highlight of our lives. It's like we deliberately forgot that loaf of bread just so we can pop out again, join our local socially distancing queue and interact with a human over the counter again. Trust me, I had good chats. There are a lot of interesting things we can observe whilst going to the shops. People wearing masks whilst rolling eyes at other humans that appear to get too close, all the while tapping their PIN number without gloves into the card machine that's been touched more times than, I can't pronounce this, more times than the Fontana del Porcellino statue in Florence. That's a statue that's like so many people have touched. And another thing you can observe is a lockdown roadman lying in wait for his next chirps, practicing his lyrics and finding ways to break all social distancing codes. Halves of situationship couples sneaking a phone call in before creeping home to wifey or hubby. People crossing the road, this happened to me a lot. People crossing the road, avoiding all eye contact as you walk happily down the street, forgetting we're in the middle of a pandemic, which doesn't mean, by the way, you can't smile or greet each other. Take a breath, smile at them anyway. Those who enjoy a little chat about the weather, books they've been reading, or where they got their African print masks from. Neighbours having a socially distanced chat, sitting on stoops or stairs, or talking across their gates, fences, or hedges. All in all, it's a wonderful way to observe people whilst feeling part of the community. A little trip to the shops is the new social club now. So why not get your pen and paper out and journal the characters you see?
Thank you, my lovely. Okay, and so just talking about the whole shopping thing, what did you struggle to buy, guys? You can write these in the comments. What did you struggle to buy over lockdown period? And were you like Daniela? I know I was like that. The trip to the shop was about as good as it got. It was about as exciting as life got. Be great to hear your feedback on that kind of thing as well.
Mavreen says, yes, I found so many excuses to go to the shops. I'm glad I'm not alone.
So someone's asking for the link for the Facebook. If the team can send that in, that would be great.
Yeah, I put the link to the Facebook.
I did like to be there.
The second to last comment, Danni Blackner, if you get to that one.
Oh, here we go. We've got one here for Maureen. She said, yes, I found so many excuses to go to the shops. I take it then, Maureen, that you went more than once. Or whenever you could go. Fantastic. Hannibal, Daniel, would you mind as well, because the other favourite situation you talk about was the situationships, and you mentioned that in that talk there, and I just love situationships. Situationships are people who are in those, and I didn't know that on Facebook, if you put that your relationship is complicated, it means that you're in a bit of a messy situation. I never knew that until I read the book. But if you could talk about situationships, because I thought that was spot on.
Okay, so I can talk about it. I've got it here. So I'm trying to remember it now. So situationships, for those who aren't aware, is those who are with someone who is attached to another party. I sound like a politician. So somebody who's basically your partner, but they are sort of secretly seeing them on the slide, whether they know or they don't know. So the joke of it was that the other party on the outside is only being called when the attached party is at the shops. And so they're asking, why are we not speaking as often? You know, why are you only calling me when we are at the shops? And so it was this thing of, and then the Jada Pinkett thing came out about, I don't follow celebrities much, but this new word entanglement, which I think might start to become part of one of the, legal ways to define your relationship status. Single relationship entanglement. So when you're caught in this entanglement, I think over lockdown, what happened was, there's a whole section on dating and love, that either the new relationships decided very quickly that they were going to settle down and move in, or things broke apart. And a lot of the things that I think broke apart over that time were these situations, because lockdown was a very intense period of time, I think. And when you're at home with your partner, it's very clear that that's who you're in lockdown with, and so the other person on the outside who may not know about the partner, that would be the perfect time for the darkness to come to light. You see what I mean? So it's
yeah, very well. It's funny enough, because I know a friend who was in a situationship for over 20 years. I'm thinking, surely this must have brought the end to that relationship. It was so struggling to get out. And I was thinking, surely this must have been the end. Anybody single in the group at the moment? And were you comfortable dating during this time? Leah, and how did you find if you were being checked, you think you might have COVID? I remember thinking anyone who was checking me, I was like, you may have COVID, I may have COVID, we can't check each other now. Or did you find this was a time that you could just like, It could almost be the time where you can say to yourself, right, you know,
I found tragically that absolutely nothing changed. For me, absolutely nothing changed. I would make a date and we would agree to make it safe, and they would not show up and ghost me. I mean, literally, I started to worry that there was something wrong with me, because like nothing about my life changed. Like I was still by myself. I was still teaching just via my computer. And like, so I went shopping once a week instead of, you know, every couple of days. That was it. My commute went to 5 minutes instead of half an hour. That's it. Everybody talked about these dramatic changes, and I was actually starting to the thing that freaked me out was trying to figure out, well, what's wrong? Because
just out of interest, Leah, did your values prepare to let their values fall a little bit, and they would go for the guy who didn't have a picture and stuff like that?
Well, no, but that's so, like, I mean, one of the reasons why, I mean, I do go out into real life and try and meet people the regular old-fashioned way, but I do a lot of, I try to go through online dating so I can filter out, you know, the roadman. I don't, you know, so, like, you know, the ones who message you and go, what, expat, does that mean you're an immigrant? And as their opening gambit, and you know, or the one, I know what you need, and it's like, huh, clearly don't, fuck. Yeah, so it was like, I try to make sure that we have the same values and interests before we even get to the date stage, but still they don't turn up or lie or whatever, and it's like, really, don't make a date if you're not going to show up. Just don't bother. But yeah, no,
you got any Zoom dating?
Huh?
What about any Zoom dating with like 3D backgrounds, green screen backgrounds?
I don't see everybody. This was a problem before lockdown for me, because I get nervous about giving out any personal contact detail whatsoever, like texting, WhatsApp, you know, real life emails and names and phone numbers and things, just because I'm afraid that if they're lying and they're not who they say they are, I'm going to get in a situation that I can't get out of.
Got it.
And so, like, I've never done online or electronic meet before in-person meet, because I figure if they're not willing to show up in person, then, you know, I can't trust that they're not trying to pull something. But maybe that's my pessimistic side.
It's cheaper.
No, not at all, not at all.
It is cheaper, but maybe for them, and you know.
Can you all hear me? I know my line's got a little bit rough, but
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Marva says, no interest in dating during lockdown. I was blocking hard. Marva, what's going on?
When you say blocking, Daniela, what do you mean? When you say blocking, what does that mean?
Oh, like any, yeah. So, I mean, I probably shouldn't shout. My son's probably listening. I mean, similar to Leah, I've had, you know, sort of like challenges with the online dating scene. And I decided in lockdown, you know, because as I said, I don't know where you've been. But people are still coming at you. And I'm just like, no, we can't meet up anyway, you know. So I just kept you know, I wasn't entertaining any of it, but like, it didn't seem to deter people from trying to reach out, even though they should have been keeping their ass at home, you know. But yeah, it's just, I mean, I know there are lots of people who were doing these Zoom things, and I personally, I find like that quite awkward. I struggle enough with the whole online thing, but to do like these Zoom kind of dating, it just didn't.
It wasn't for you. See, I kind of thought it was a time that, because you can't meet up, you can make the relationships that bit more deeper before meeting up. It was an opportunity.
That's what I thought at first. I thought was going to happen, that they would have to be like in the olden times and, you know, make a bit more effort and be more gentlemanly and all that. No, same bullshit happening.
Alina, did you want to contribute to this?
No, I'm just listening and very it's an eye-opener to me. I'm of the older generation, I'm afraid. So can you hear me?
Yes, I can indeed.
Okay, I'm of the older generation, and in the lockdown, it was my husband and I don't know if you saw my note earlier on. It was more a period of reflection and reminiscing and, you know, being in Jamaica and all this sort of thing and all the things we did. So it was supportive for both of us in that sense. But I must say, I never even thought about this online side of it. Online dating. That's why I'm smiling to myself.
Fantastic.
Can I just say, Alina, she's spoken. Well, actually, Leah is one of our authors. Her book is called, I always plug people, From Hindsight to Foresight, poetry book. And Alina, who's just spoken, is a founder of NAJ, which is Nurses Association Jamaica. Her book is called Nurses Association of Jamaica. It's all about the Jamaican nurses who came during the Windrush and their experience. So guys, feel free to put your links up to your book. Just make sure you put https:// Ingrid, is it all right if Dillis, because I know Dillis is here, is it all right if Dillis comes on and does a little song? Does anyone want any entertainment while we just for a little bit? Yeah, do you want entertainment? Okay, I can see nods. Dillis, are you all right to come on? Dillis is also one of our authors. I'm sure she'll introduce herself. Is
it the lovely Dillis? Is it Dillis Silla?
Dillis Silla, yes.
I know Dillis very well. Where is my lovely?
Well, let's ask her, Dillis, are you on Zoom? I can see she's on Facebook. She might not be on Zoom. So once we get her on Zoom, I'll send her the link.
Okay. While you're doing that, I'd just like to mention a couple of comments, if that's okay, darling. There was one from Sharon Thevia, which I love. She said, yes, I went on a date, but no kissing. Wise. And I love the comment earlier by Vidal, who said she went shopping for 2 hours in Morrison, about as good as it gets. And another message came up saying, like, 2 or 3 people said they struggle to get Dettol even now. So I thought that was quite funny. Even now, still struggling to get Dettol. Your comments coming in, my darling, they are so funny. Let's see what we've got here. Yeah, that was Sharon. Yeah, absolutely. Went on a date, no kissing. I've been able, here's another lovely one from Leah. Thank you, Leah, which we spoke to before. I've never been able to make a deep connection without being face to face with someone in the real world. There's a wonderful section about this in the book, which we're going to be touching on. That soul connection. How do we do that online? So yeah, Daniela covers that too. Any news from Dillis, Daniela?
Dillis is coming on to the Zoom, so when she comes in, then thank you. When Dillis comes in, then we can give her little singing time. So
I look forward to it. I've bought it and it's my weekend reading, Daniela.
Yeah, it's really quick to read. It took me like an hour to read it over because I always had to read it when I was proofreading.
I like to savor it. I like to savor it.
Give it a few hours then.
You know, one bit an hour. You know, just reflect.
Yeah, it's the way to read it, actually. Cool. Is that?
Faye says, do you want the comments from Facebook now or later?
I'll have some now. I'll have some now if that's okay, Daniela.
Faye, yeah, feel free to give us the Facebook comments. That would be fantastic. We're going to probably come in behind this banner with the little post-it note. We're going to make them come in. I can hear them.
Scribbling frivolously.
Yeah, you might as well just come on and say it. That's so funny. Come in. Let's say hello to Faye. Come on, Faye. Hello. Hi. Oh my gosh, she's writing a book. It's not me, it was Karen. She's been eagerly writing. It's Karen. Dillis says, Ingrid, you really know how to interview. Goodness me. Can we just...
Oh, who said that?
Dillis.
Oh, my lovely Dillis.
I actually met Ingrid at Dillis's book launch, and I was so blown away with your interviewing skills because not only do you pronounce people's names correctly, you also like really delve into the author and you do your research, and that's why I asked you to do it. So can we just give some love to Ingrid, just in one word? She passed as an interviewer. Yay!
They make my job easy because it's such great books. I really get into them. So
thank you. Then we've got Mame, who says this is hilarious, love it. Thank you, loving the patois. I can't wait to read it. Okay, awesome. Thank you. So we just wait for Dilys to come in. We can carry on, and then when Dilys comes in,
we carry on. Okay.
1-2 song. Yeah.
So we've talked about shopping. We've talked about food. Did we touch on that? Did we touch on the toilet paper in the book? The toilet paper had to be the bane of everyone's life.
100%.
I didn't stockpile because my son was at his dad. So this one roll I had to just go like sheet by sheet. Do you know what I mean? So
one roll.
So we talked about that, but Dilys, there was a time where it says in the book where we talk about now's the time. It's getting a little bit deeper here, but really important. So now's the time to look after ourselves and truly eat the things that are good for our mind, our body, and our soul. So this is quite a reflective moment around the whole shopping thing, and it's like, you know, what we put into our bodies, especially now, will determine our mental and physical health. We live in a fast-paced world where food can sometimes be an afterthought or a fast food snack. Once we keep busy in our lives and once we just keep going and going. I cannot tell you how many dishes I made using cabbage. That comes up again. Spinach, kale, and chickpeas. Look, tell us about this cabbage thing. I didn't see the post. What have you made with cabbage? I hate the
so much engagement over cabbage. Like, you know, I publish books, you know, I promote all the authors' books. Yeah, great, you know. But the cabbage post, 436 comments or something along those lines. I think I posted like day 41 in lockdown, SC27, cabbage. I had ordered, I've done an online order shop, and I just seemed to find myself overwhelmed with cabbage. And I remember opening the fridge and just seeing 3 cabbages staring at me, and they were making me feel guilty. Like, they're looking at me like, what the hell are you going to do with me, girl? Like, cook me, do something. Like, what are you going to do?
Sorry, Daniela. So 3 cabbages staring back at you. That is so funny.
At me, I was staring at them, and it all got hella uncomfortable and awkward. And so I was like, I've got to do something about this. So I posted on Facebook, you know, what am I meant to do with cabbage? Like, someone please help me out. And I just got 400 whatever plus comments about what I can do with cabbage. I feel like I still need to buy more so I can go through the recipes. But wow, people are very creative.
Is this the next book, Daniela? What to do with bloody cabbage?
I think it is. I don't know who's going to read it, but maybe, yeah.
So I was reading some of these notes here. Someone else said spinach. This is Marina Carby. I need my glasses. Let's just bring that up a bit. Marina Carby. No, I've not got that right. She says, she just talks about all the things you can do with spinach and kale. Especially when you live alone. You have to live alone, I think, to get away with that. Some great comments, but I know we have Dilys here now. Hold on, I was on, yes. Oh, this is Dilys. I was on guinea fowl, fried yam, jollof rice, you name it. If you're going to be locked down, get it right. But Dilys is here now.
I had a video call with Dilys because she got stuck in Ghana. She had a book launch over in Ghana, which didn't happen, but she's been there for 4 months now. I mean,
no, 6 months.
6 months, Lord of mercy,
6 months.
Leaving out there. She was showing me where she was. There was dogs and people waiting on her. So cool. And I was like, okay.
That is true.
Hi, you do your thing, Dilys. Over to you, darling.
Thank you, darling. Well, Daniela rang me today whilst I was getting my nails done and having a glass of champagne in the nail bar in Accra. Here's the nails, you know, as we do. And she said, oh, you know, I offered to sing you a song, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can say, I told us I'm feeling a bit down, like just things kind of felt a bit flat, the weather was crap, yeah. Seeing the kids. And I'm like, I'm meant to be working here in the schools, like what's going on?
Yes, and feeling.
So she sang the song and it was really lovely.
So, and that was my sin, and now I've been roped into singing tonight. So obviously I don't have anything, you know, majorly, you know, planned, but I guess you don't really have to do that for family, do you? which is how I see Danni. So I'm going to sing you a song that was sung, but it was covered by Mary called Can't Give Up Now. And I guess it's kind of apt for the time that we're in. So let me just turn off this air conditioning because you're going to hear it humming. So it goes a little something like this. There may be mountains that I might have to climb, and there may be battles that I may need to fight, but victory or defeat, it's up to me to decide. Oh, how can I expect to win if I never try? I just can't give up now. I've come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me the road would be easy, and I don't believe he's brought me this far to leave me. Never said there wouldn't be trials, never said I wouldn't fall, never said that everything would go the way I want it to go. But when my back is against the wall and I feel all hope is gone, I'll just lift my head up to the sky, saying, help me to be strong. Oh, I just can't give up now. I've come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me the road would be easy, and I don't believe he's brought me this far to leave me. Said I don't believe he's brought me this far to leave me. Said I don't believe he has brought me. Oh no, my God has not brought me this far to leave me. There you go, Danni, all for you. Congratulations. Woo! Well done, Phyllis. Thank you, thank you.
Oh God!
Wow.
You can sing.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Encore.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's from my sweetheart, Danni, who helped me immensely when I was doing my own book. So whatever I can ever do for you, just call me.
Tell us about your book, man, because I need time to dry this tears. Honestly, when I caught this today, it was just out. Someone just said, "Call Dennis," because she gave me a joke. I didn't even know this woman could do accents in the way that she could do any accent, Welsh, Jamaican. I'm like, what? Better than my own family who are Jamaican. And you're just amazing. I just called her up and said, Dennis, like, crack me some jokes. And she sang me a song and she got me emotional. So I'm emotional right now. Tell us about your book.
So my book is called Not This Widow, and it's a book about widowhood. I lost my husband nearly 2 years ago, and it speaks about my journey of being widowed. It's part memoir, part self-help, and the amazing Ingrid was actually the host for my book launch. As you can tell, she's an amazing interviewer. And I wrote this book because of the abuse and the maltreatment that I faced as an African woman, even though I was living in England. My husband was from Sierra Leone. And I was shocked and I was appalled at the treatment that I was receiving, but even more shocked at the fact that I was not unique, that this is actually a thing that happens within some communities. And I just felt that it needed to be spoken about. I also felt that it was important that people were encouraged and taught how they could grieve authentically and not be put in a box or labeled or hurried along just because it was inconvenient for the people having to, you know, be on the outside looking in. So in a nutshell, that's what the book is about. But tonight is about you. So
Listen,
Bless
please
you.
put your link to your book in there. Make sure you put https ... those two things,
Oh,
so
that.
people can actually
All
read
right.
content.
Yeah, just
All
read
right,
some of the
sweetheart.
comments around that. Some of the
Not
comments
this.
around this, that there's people just going crazy on here about
Shall I go
gorgeous
have a look?
singing, absolutely wonderful, absolutely. I mean, you make your hair stand on end.
Oh, bless you.
Wonderful note here from Ingrid Vidal saying, just repeat, I don't believe he's brought us this far to leave us. Just profound. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much.
Thank you, my lovely. Can I run away and join you on Facebook now?
Yeah. See you later.
See you, sweetheart. God bless you. Bye.
Bless you.
Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Luscious.
Thank you.
Man, that was awesome. And it's really perfect, really, as we delve slowly now into almost a third section of the book, which really does, it goes a little bit deeper, but, and I'm really deep, but it really even helped me and opened up new insights for me. So if it's okay, my Luscious, I just want to kind of go down, we're just going to bring it down ever so slightly, but it's still very beautiful. You touched on, and you're the first person who taught me this word. You probably don't know that. I picked up from your post once. And you talked about low vibrational food. And so I got that from you. And you touched on low vibrational food. And I touched on earlier that it was a time for us to reflect about what we put into our system. Yeah. Now, this part was quite poignant for me because when I went through a slump 3 years ago, I did find that I was stuffing my soul with food. And it took a slump for me to realize that I had to change this. So the fact that I picked up on your post and you mentioned it in your book, what's your relationship or your feelings about low vibrational food for it to come up so many times? Can you share that with us?
I've got to big up my sister who's not here tonight, but she'll be watching the replay. She's a holistic health and wellness coach. And we actually published her book. It was supposed to come out in May, but we decided that we had to cancel her book launch, and we decided just to get it out as soon as possible because this was a real time during lockdown that people really needed to read this. It's called Self-Care for Life in the City, and it's about how to nourish your mind, body and soul. Now, I'm not 100% there yet. I'm not my sister, so I do my best, but I think it's really important to look at our bodies as temples. And I think what has really frustrated me the most is, if any health and wellness coaches are watching, what's frustrated me the most is that I don't watch, mainstream media or news so much. I don't have a TV. I haven't watched TV for like 10 years. I don't pay my TV license, and I feel really clear and great about that. However, if I want to watch things, I will, seek out the news and pick the information when I'm ready to hear it. But what really frustrated me and hurt my soul a lot was that it was nothing about how we can empower ourselves through educating ourselves about what is important for us to feed our mind, bodies and souls. Because, we're taught fear, everything's going to come and get you, but nothing about, well, how can we empower ourselves? What is good for us? What's going to build our immune systems? So there's a whole section on, building your immune system and taking back control of our health. So I believe that whatever we put into our body, and whether that is food, whether that's drink, and there's a section on like people we have around us, what's in our environment, those things need to nourish our soul. Those things need to nourish our body, and those things need to nourish our minds. I'm a strong believer that whatever we put into our physical body are reflective of how we feel about ourselves, and how we feel about ourselves manifests in the physical. Now, I know we're going right into this now, but I think that it's just really important for us to remain in a high vibrational sense. So that is the things that we're thinking. We're always thinking, not always thinking positive things, because sometimes we want to feel the crap. We want to feel that's part of our healing as well. But we are in control of what we consume and what we put into our bodies. And during that time, during that time, I normally have hot water and lemon every morning, but I was adding the turmeric in, which is really good for your immune system, by the way. I was eating my Caribbean sea moss, vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, all of these things, iron. So it's just knowing what your body needs and just building that, because I believe that we have everything. I'm not saying this is a cure, I'm not a doctor or anything, but I think that the more we know about our bodies and what our bodies need, the more in control we can be. So it's just about, just being mindful about what we eat and what we consume, both, in terms of food and in terms of the environment we're in, what we choose to listen to, who we choose to listen to, and who we choose to be around. Ingrid's connecting to the audio. Does anyone want to, while Ingrid's coming back in, does anyone want to say something around that at all? Can anyone relate to what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, I know that there are foods that
Again now. So Daniela, you mentioned that about the touching on the immune system. Technology for you. Oh.
I can hear you, Ingrid. Okay, Leah, go ahead.
I mean, I can relate. I mean, there are the chicken soup thing, the very traditional tryptophan within the chicken soup, making you healthier, helping boost your immune system with the variety of things in there. For me, it's my grandmother's recipe when I make chicken soup. So it's a smell that fills the house, and there's something about it that always makes me feel better. And it's a relatively healthy soup. So it's one of those things that when we think about our combination, our relationship with food, like how, and I have Thanksgiving every year. So where I get all my family recipes that I feed my friends. So, thinking about not just the technical or doctoral benefit, like the doctor benefits that food has, it can also have an emotional and psychological benefit. Yeah. when we do it right as well.
It makes you feel 100% exactly what your association is with that.
It transports me 3,500 miles back home, and I share that with people that I care about.
Who needs planes? Thank you. Well, thank you for sharing that.
I would say, are you hearing me?
I can. Hello, is that Alina? Hello.
Yes, it is. I would say I totally agree with you with the homemade cooking, the grandma recipes and all that. And I've always believed in abiding by those. And even with my children, they know about keeping their vitamins up and their, not to allow themselves to go anemic. But on the other hand, we have to be aware. My motto is moderation all the way. Mm-hmm. Some people can go over the top about certain foods and, but I just believe in moderation. A little bit of everything I find is very useful.
100%. Otherwise, you'll never eat anything.
Well, this is it.
Enjoy as well.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Is Ingrid back?
Yeah, sorry. I wanted to mention in the book, I kind of picked up talking about the whole immune system, that you felt the government didn't do enough in stressing what we could do to strengthen our immune system. If you was the Prime Minister, how would you have dealt with that aspect?
Oh, don't ask me. I would write Lockdown Life and say, read the book now.
Oh boy. Probably wouldn't understand you.
Yeah. I'd be like, what? It might be a bit clearer than Boris Johnson's, do go out, but don't go out, but do go out sometimes on a Friday and a Saturday, but also go out and don't go out at the same time.
Yes, exactly.
Let's not go there. There's no politics in the book. I don't talk about the virus. It's not about the virus. It's about lockdown and that specific period, looking at it from a light-hearted way, but also the things that we've learned from that time as well.
Can I just ask one question? Can I just ask? I haven't read the book yet, but I just wondered if there were any thoughts about the number of people dying, young people, older people.
No thoughts, no thoughts at all. It's not, I specifically do not mention anything from a health perspective or the virus. That's not what the book's about at all.
All right.
But thank you for asking. But it's specifically lockdown. That's why it's called Lockdown Life. I want people to focus on the period of time where we're at home, right, and not everything that's being put out there.
Right. Okay. Okay.
The the question was more pertaining to, do you think the government could have done more in stressing what we could do to build our immune system and how they could have dealt with that better? Not really from a political aspect, for more that, could they have been putting more daily missions out there about turmeric, about the benefits of doing more
100%.
anti.
Yeah, definitely.
And
More
vitamin
interviews
D.
with people who can give, advice from a health perspective. It's not about, offering solutions medically wise. It's about offering solutions about things that we can do at home. Because a lot of people, they really went into suffering from depression, mental health issues, feeling disempowered. I think the more you can give people tools and resources to empower themselves, the more strength and the more positive people are going to feel. And when people are in fear, they need to feel positive to readjust that frequency. So I don't think there wasn't anything really about what we can do in terms of natural things that we can eat, natural things that we can do to build our immune system.
Okay.
Great stuff. And talking about natural and nature, what I loved in the book was this massive section about nature, about nurturing our souls. And I love that you addressed that, Daniela, but in particularly because I almost feel that it's such a woo-woo subject. It's a wonderful resource that's been overlooked, but you dedicated a huge area to it. Why was that?
Being in nature.
Yes.
Because I spent so much time in the park. Lord, listen, I'm a nature girl. When I was brought up, not brought up, but I was a natural tomboy. So I was born digging in the garden, looking for earthworms, learning about birds. I used to create books about all these different birds and nests. I'm getting excited thinking about it. I was so sad. But no, let's not say that. Let's reframe that. That was my passion. That was my interest. And I used to go to the park, from 8 years old by myself and just sit in absolute nature and absolutely love it. And that's where I learned about myself. That's why I became reflected, and that's where I really felt at one. And I feel because my life before lockdown was so busy, it was so, I don't want to say stressful because I'm so blessed for all the things and the successes and the authors that I work with. I was doing book launches, I was working 3 jobs, I was working full time on my business at home, then I was working in a teaching over here, then I'd travel over there to do a workshop, and I'm doing a book launch, and I felt overwhelmed and stressed. And I remember people saying, oh wow, you're doing so much, it's brilliant. And it's like, I remember saying, I don't want to say I'm to blame, but in the 2 months to the lead up to this, I was saying, I just want 2 months at home doing nothing. So it's like, well, okay, I've lost my job. When you're right at the bottom, it's like, well, what am I going to do? I'm going to sit in the park, because I've been living here for 11 years. I always used to sit in the park under this specific tree that I love. And I recently found out it was an oak tree. But I worked at the school down the road, which meant I had to cut through. Oh, sorry. I'm just trying to meet, okay. Which meant that I'm just meeting Mike, which meant that I would walk really quickly through the park, and I'd appreciate the trees as I'm walking through it and think, wow, I'm majestic, brilliant. And then I'd go home. And sometimes I'd think, do you know what I'd like to do? I'd like just to sit down in the grass and take my shoes off. But I didn't do it because I just thought, I'm really tired, I want to go home now. Or there'll be loads of kids in the park smoking weed or whatever it is they're doing. So, and I, teach them, so I just want to go home. And so this was a great opportunity to say, it's 1 o'clock, what am I going to do? The sun's out, I'm going to go and sit in the park. I lived in bare feet. That's me. I walk through the park in the long grass, sat under a tree, and I'm at home here. This is what I love. And I wasn't doing anything. I was just observing. I was like getting ideas. I was watching people. I did have a dog pee on me at one point. I was very upset about that. But out the blue, Ingrid. But I don't know if anyone else is like this, but that's just where I feel at home,
Yeah, that's definitely me. In fact, talking about a bird pooing on you, we've had someone here, Natalie, saying that they opened up a bird club. And lots of people here can't say that they're enjoying the party in the groups. Thank you very much, guys. But no, I'm a massive love of nature, and that's how I restored my soul. Anybody else nature in the group?
Well,
I hated having to get back into my bra, Leah said. To wear a bra again. Okay, Danni, I'd like to go into lockdown lessons now, please, Mardan. If you can read an extract from your book on lockdown lessons.
Which one should I do? I feel like we need something a bit funnier. I'm going to go to finances or be adaptable. I don't know which one.
Let's have a vote. Finances or
the adaptable.
The adaptable. What's the adaptable about? Give them a brief.
Being adaptable, adapting to your situation.
Okay, can we have a bit of a vote in the comments? Danny, I had a bird club as kids. I was referring to. Our students have horse therapy. I love horse therapy.
Those reminding me that we need to be on Q&A.
Okay.
We'll get there. Thank you, bye.
Okay, so we'll do lockdown. We'll do this extract, then we'll go to question and answers. Yeah.
Cool. So do be adaptable.
Be adaptable.
Okay,
that seems to be winning. So go with that one.
All right. Benjamin Franklin said, "Change is the only constant in life. One's ability to adapt to those changes will determine your success in life. If there's one thing that is inevitable in life, it's change. Throughout history, it's been proven that those who are adaptable to change not only survive, but thrive. Observing the animal kingdom," did a bit of research here, "the chameleon changes its colour to blend in with its environment. Animals hibernate during the winter, and did you know the Alaskan wood frogs can freeze 60% of their bodies to survive temperatures down to minus 80 Fahrenheit, freeze their bodies. Nature has a wonderful way of adapting. We shouldn't be exempt. We need to be like an Alaskan wood frog." This era ushered in a lot of change, with the majority of small businesses, schools and offices closing and events postponed. We've had no choice but to be adaptable to environment. I can only imagine how hard it must be to work from home whilst homeschooling children at the same time. There's a whole section on that. And although we've had a giggle about the difficulties in part one, I salute those who rose to the challenge. Although tough, this has been a great opportunity for us to develop new habits, build in new routines and rhythms that promote a better way of living and working. Has the change made you think differently about how you want to interact with your children or family? Has the change made you view your children differently as you find out how they learn? Will you now instill new ways of learning when lockdown is over? Will you take more of a role in your child's education? Perhaps you may have seen some flaws in the educational system that need to be addressed. For many of us entrepreneurs, it's been a time to really rework our businesses. In the space of a few short weeks, I had to teach myself how to use Zoom, the power of your story, and other online platforms to convert my forthcoming workshop, The Power of Your Story, onto an online digital platform and run innovative book launches online, hopefully like this one. Networking events have been replaced with digital meets, with the bonus being that people from all over the world can now attend. I've seen businesses thrive online, and business owners consult other entrepreneurs on how to become more visible online and monetize their expertise. I'm being serious when I say I fully adapted to dressing from the waist up. Winston will get that joke. Don't worry, I'm wearing bottoms. I'm wearing a dress, so it's all good today. And enjoyed saving money on travel. I'll have no idea what to wear when events are on again. Some of us will need socialization programs and workshops, online of course, with a reminder of who we were BL before lockdown. Before we venture out again, because the person I am now lives in tracksuits and dressing gowns, my bras and knickers are now foreign to me, Leah. Joking aside, there's incredible power in adaptability. This adaptability will determine, this ability to adapt will determine our success, just like the Alaskan wood frog. We must change with the climate, not wait for the climate to change. We must continually learn, grow, evolve, and adapt so that we can find a way to thrive in any given situation. All of us in some way, shape, or form have had to adapt to a new way of living, and my only hope is that it helps us to look at old situations with new eyes, gives us the power to start eliminating the things that make us unhappy and start doing things differently. The end.
Okay, my lovely. So questions and answers. Let's move on to that section now. Do you have any wonderful questions for our lovely Daniela? Please write them in the comments. And if there's any coming from fans as well. I'm thinking that Faye will bring those in. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Faye, now is your chance to come in with the Facebook messages, questions. Can I say that I've put the link to the book in the comments, both the one in the UK and the USA. There's another competition. Once you get your books, please take a photo, tag me in with the hashtag Lockdown Life Book, and then we'll choose a winner to send out a copy of the book as well.
Great stuff. Great stuff.
You can unmute your mics if you're on Zoom. You can unmute your mics and ask the question. That's fine.
Did I tell you about the asking for? Oh no, is that someone's? Sorry.
Ingrid, you're echoing. I think it's because you're on two different platforms. Let me see.
That again.
Oh no, it's fine now. Your mic was echoing. No, you're fine now.
Okay, cool. I'll turn off here.
Wisdom says, will I make a film out of the characters? Always thinking ahead. That's a good idea, maybe. I don't know. Does anyone want to give us some funding to make a film?
Okay.
That'd be great. That's a good idea.
Can I just say bye, everybody?
Bye. Thank you for joining, Elida.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Have a good day. Good night.
Bye, darling.
Bye.
Someone's asked Daniela, which is a question I had for you. If you were a character in the book, which one would you be? Which character are you?
Oh God. I think I'll be the lockdown intro. So intro stands for introvert. And I realized I was that because obviously I wrote the thing. Well, this is me. So I'm a very sociable person. I like going to events. I like being around. I like people. I like being around people. But also sometimes feel quite overloaded when I've gone to like huge events, and it takes a lot of energy. And so I also like to come home and just be like, you know. So I just needed. I was going to say I'm a bit reminiscent over lockdown, but I really feel there's going to be another one. So I don't want to say that because I don't know if I want that so quickly. But I really needed that time just to have that introspection and also just to be by myself and to not be busy all the time. So there was like a bit of a silent, yay! I'm really happy. This is not happy that this situation's happy, but I'm really happy that I've got this time now to spend so much time at home, cooking 3 meals a day healthily, trying to most of the time, you know, making my house a home and just really just being in my own space. So yeah, maybe that.
Great stuff. We've got which character did you really love writing about?
Definitely Lockdown Roadman.
Hey,
I'm gonna make a story about you guys.
Danni, can I ask you a question?
No, she's in my living room right now.
Danni, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
You are so used to helping so many people to prepare, edit, and to get their books out. And you've done a great job, always been there for us when we were producing our books. How does it feel, or how did it feel being on the other side, being an author, and also your own book launch? How did you find that?
Oh, thank you. Good question. Big up Jo. Her book is called Climbing Clouds, Catching Comets, written by her beautiful son, Alexander Paul. I need to say Alexander today. Alexander Paul, collection of poetry. Really annoying and pedantic. And I just want to big up Jo, Faye and Karen, because I was constantly sending them, you're probably sick of this cover, like so many different versions of this cover, you know what I mean? What about the front here? Okay guys, last chart, we've got a little WhatsApp group, and I'll be like, okay, last message, I promise, I felt bad, but it was so important for me. What about the font, this font or that font? Do you think I should have the toilet paper with the little thing over the top, or should it was so at the time, because for me it's like I can't put anything out until I'm like 150% happy with how it looks, and it's got a rhythm and a feeling to it. And so Jo, were you a bit annoyed by that?
No, I wasn't annoyed. I was surprised. And that's why I asked the question, because I was surprised. It's like when when I was producing my book, you gave me great answers, great advice. But it was like, oh, Joe, what do you think? This is the last time I'm going to, one more advice. What do you think about the cover? What do you think about the toilet roll? It was about 20 questions. And I suppose it's easy when you're helping someone and you've done it for so long, but maybe because you hadn't done it for many years. I know you wrote Mr. Wrong, and that was a long time ago, but it did surprise me that, and we all want to get our books right. So I think, I just assumed you're so confident and you were able to help us that you would have said, right, this is a cover. This is what I want. So I was just wanted to know how you felt about, the whole process.
I felt like I was structured myself. Like the writing is never the problem for me. So like the characters was easy. Like coming up with that and writing all of that was easy. But I found myself, and it's why I call myself a book journey mentor, because it's a journey. You learn not only about the process of creating the book, but the process of who you are as a person. And I realized that, what did I realize? I realized that for me, it's like, I don't have someone coaching me. I've got to be my own coach. Like I've always had to be my own coach to an extent. And it's perfectionism is great, but perfection should never be a reason to hold yourself back. Like when I put things up on the wall, it's got to be 100% straight. It's got to be, no, that should not go out like that. It's got to be, and I think I've also got this sense of procrastination. So I'd written the whole book. All I had to do was to add the charities at the end, all the names and addresses. It sounds simple, right? Do you know how long it took me to get those together? I've got to-do lists that I do every day. It was on the to-do list for 8 weeks. And I almost became like a little diva to myself. And it was like, I'm not doing it because I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'll do everything. And I was working on everyone else's stuff because that was easy. And I realized that it was this last hurdle that was easy to do, but a bit boring. And so I didn't want to do it. And so I used that as an excuse to not excel or not to get out what I needed to. So I really procrastinated, and I really annoyed myself. And I just thought, right, today I'm not going to do anything, any other books. I'm just going to get all the names and addresses of these organizations together and put them at the back, because I'm using that as an excuse to not do what I'm dreaming of. And I think a lot of people do that in different ways. So it gave me a deeper understanding of what it's like to go through the journey of an author who might be hesitant about, revealing themselves or getting their work out there. And then there was a book cover, but I think the book cover was more about perfectionism, and it had to be right. And I think as a publisher, I felt extra pressure because I had, published so many other books. They had to be right, and it's got to be out there in the way that it's meant to. And yeah, it was a really interesting journey. Thanks for the question. I'm going to need therapy after this.
Thanks.
We've got another question from Leah about the normality aspect. Nina, do you want to unmute and share that with us?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, because obviously it's what you've discovered about the whole not wearing shoes and sitting under the tree and doing your meditation, taking that time for yourself that you have as a result of lockdown. Do you think that you're going to be able to maintain that kind of that time for reflection? Are you going to kind of, if you're anything, I'm a workaholic, and I didn't stop during lockdown. It just, it kept going. Yeah. You helped me with my launch during lockdown and stuff like that. So I've found it necessary to carve out that time for myself, where I'm not doing something for anyone but me, where I'm allowed to indulge myself. So, and where you have found that time to sit under the tree and meditate for yourself amongst the 50 billion hats that you wear. Are you going to try and kind of maintain that equilibrium? Are you going to try and keep that for yourself as life begins to normalize?
Wow, that's a good question. I think I'm admitting I am a workaholic. I've always got to have something, I've always got to have a project, I've always got to create, because I've always got these ideas and things I need to do all the time. But I think one thing that lockdown gave me, and I think this links to mental health and well-being, was that I found myself working in schools, doing this, doing that. I can hear them coming in. And then I'll come home and it's like, I've got to do this. I've got 5 consultations and I've got to sort this person's book out. And I can't afford to be ill. I can't afford to have a migraine, because I suffer from migraines. I can't afford to have a migraine. I can't afford to have a down day because I've got to do this. And so I'll be jumping from one thing to the other. Whereas losing my jobs, as hard as that was, you know, in physical terms, you know, when I just had my business to work on, one of the great things was I'd have my laptop open and I would be able to feel my body and speak to me because I was listening to it. I had time to listen to it and say, you're getting a migraine, you haven't had any water today actually, or you haven't actually had lunch. Because there'd be times sometimes I'd sit at my laptop, and this, I wouldn't say this long, but you know, I'd sit at my laptop from 8 o'clock and then suddenly it's 10 o'clock and it's like I haven't eaten because I'm so immersed in what I'm doing. And I know that's not great, but my body was saying to me, Dan, you're tired actually, you're getting a migraine, actually you haven't eaten. And so the blessing came that I was able to say to myself, that's fine, do you know what, close the laptop, go and lie down. I had a whole day one day in bed, and I didn't feel lazy. I felt this is what my body's asking for. And I think we're so caught up in the rat race, and we're so caught up in having to do this and sometimes having to please other people, that we really neglect ourselves and we stop listening to ourselves. And I think that's the one thing that one of the biggest things I need to take from lockdown and remember it.
Is to let yourself have that.
Yeah. Oh, Faye's coming. I've got a whole book here.
Is that fair? So, Daniela, just as we come towards the close,
yeah,
it'd be great to get some more of those messages, just to reinstate the competition, and then just to kind of sum up the event in the evening. I would like to just do a little word myself. So I know we've got to just reinforce that competition. I know you've got some notes there you want to share. Can you do that now?
Yeah, I can do that now. Joy James says, great, congrats on the book launch. Lockdown was the weirdest experience ever. Life seems somewhat surreal. It feels like we're still waiting for real life to return again, 100%. Tony says, oh, she can sing. That was about Dillis. Inouye says, wonderful to share this evening with you all, positive and beautiful women. Danni, your book reflects the natural ups and downs of life. Here's to balance for all of us. Lovely. Denise says, people underestimate the power of nature. Big time. Karen, are there certain things that she would like to remain the same after lockdown? Yeah, what I said before, that sense of looking after self and the sense of listening to self and the sense of really enjoying the little small things that we take for granted. Definitely. Faye says, do you need another drink? Oh, good, Faye, thank you. Mavreen, do you think the lockdown period has helped people to recognise others maybe suffering in silence but reach out for help in their quiet way? Yes. There's a section on that as well, like checking in on the community. One of the big things that I noticed was, you know, where I live, I take for granted, like I'm a chatty, talkative person, when I want to be, and I know all the people around in the area in the square, and I know old Mick who sits at Gypsy Hill Cafe, and then he'll move to Cafe Luna, you know, and so I'm used to saying hello, how you doing? We have our little chats, and it's something as simple. He always says to me, lovely weather, and he knows that I hate the cold, and he never wears a jacket. He always has a short sleeve top on. And we joke that no matter what, whether it's come rain or shine, he never has an umbrella, and I hate any moment of cold means umbrella, jacket, all those kind of things. And so I underestimated the importance of those interactions, you know, speaking to people at the supermarket, at my local shops. I'm used to seeing these people on the street and saying hello, and I really miss them because they weren't there. And that really gave me a sense of isolation, which made me think, well, where are they? What are they doing? Because I know that Mick hasn't got family around him. I know a lot of his life story because he likes to chat. I know he's by himself. And it just made me realise even more so that we don't exist alone. We're a community of people. Karen says, did you ever run out of toilet paper? Do you chat about? No, I didn't. They're having a laugh with me over there. But yeah, that was a huge thing, like checking in the community. I did a bit of community work, although I did end up with somebody that I was doing pickups for. He just kept sending me out to get Ray and Nephew's rum and like roll-ups, and I was like, I'm risking my life here apparently to go and get you some alcohol. Come on. So yeah.
Excellent, brilliant. So Danielle, the competition, there's so there is a second book to be won, is that right?
Yes, there's another book to be won. I put the link to the book in the comments, and my brain has gone. What is it? Yes, if you can take a picture of yourself with the book, just what you thought about it, or just take a picture of the book, that's fine. Tag me in, Danni Blackner, whatever. If you're on Facebook, it's Danni Blackner. If it's Instagram, it's Conscious Dreams Publishing. And we will select a winner from one of the photos. And I think everyone should have their books soon. So let's say a week from now, so next Wednesday, we will announce the winner, and we will announce the winner of the person. In fact, Faye or Karen, I feel like a right diva. Faye, Karen, can you choose a winner of the person who liked, shared and commented on the video, and then I will sign it and then send it out.
Yeah, we're going to look at that, and we'll get back to you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Luscious. Thank you so much. Danielle, I obviously want to leave the last word with you, but I would like to just say that I have read the book, guys, and it had me laughing throughout. And then it had me really thinking, oh, I didn't think of that. And then it finally just lifts your soul. It really is just this combination of things that doesn't just help you for lockdown, but will help you throughout life. Because she's right, there was so much joy in that. And you see her humor in there. She's just so funny. She's just naturally funny. But equally, it showed a deeper side, a more insightful side. And going back to her mission statement right at the beginning, where she wants this world of love and equality. My Luscious, how do we get the book? How do we get some mentoring with you, those of us who want to write a book? And ultimately, I just want to leave the last word with you, if that's okay, lovely.
Yeah, okay. I put the link in the comments. I can put it up again. www.tinyurl/lockdownlifebook. That's the UK link, and then there's the USA link. So you can get it anywhere from Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Waterstones online. It's also in Dulwich Books if you're in Dulwich. I've got it into the bookstore, and Bookseller Crow in Crystal Palace. Yeah, anywhere online, but yeah, you can get it from Amazon. I'll put the links in there. That would be amazing. And what was the other question? Last words.
Yeah, so just reading some of the Facebooks here, messages here saying, you're amazing, Danni. Can't wait to receive my copy and read. Well done, Danni. They're all coming in. We just thought, just magnificent. But yeah, just the final word with you, my lovely.
Oh God. Gosh, sorry.
Maybe your major, maybe a takeaway, what you want us to take away from today and from this book ultimately.
Yeah, I think it's about, I think for me anyway, the ability to find the beauty in the struggle. Again, it's about everything's duality, you know, the beauty in the struggle, you know, the strength in the weakness and the vulnerability. And the most important thing is not only the tagline is love, laughter and freedom amidst the pandemic. And sometimes I interchange that between, you know, love, laughter and freedom amidst the chaos. And sometimes we can find ourselves in this huge storm of chaos. And sometimes the best thing we can do is just to be still and go back to ourselves. You know, where is the love? Where is the laughter? How can I create that laughter within? What freedom, even though my freedoms outside may have been restricted, never taken away, might be restricted, how can I find that freedom within? No one can take away our smile. No one can take away our inner joy or happiness. And as I say this to myself, no one can take away our ability to find light and love and laughter within the chaos. And one of the biggest things that I really took away from this period was that I think people who were isolating alone were overlooked a lot. So there's a lot about, you know, people who had to juggle working from home, and those who've had to juggle working with their kids at home and also work. But what about the people who don't have kids? What about the people who want that family? What about the people who are by themselves and feel alone and feel like there's no one they can reach out to? What about the people who can't? What about the people who don't have access to Zoom, or the people who don't have access to WhatsApp? How are we catering to them? How are we helping them? How are we checking in on them? And it's really made me feel part of a wider whole, and feel so grateful for the community. And when I say community, it's even just going out to the shops and talking to the shopkeeper, because you never know whose life you can affect with a bit of chat and a smile and a laugh. And that is, to me, the greatest thing, because I've been on the other side where, you know, I felt down and somebody might have passed me in the street and smiled or said, oh, your dress looks nice. And it's that little, we may feel that we don't have power. It's that little thing that we can do that can transform the way someone feels. And if we can transform the way someone feels, you can transform the way that they may act towards somebody else. And then that goes back to where the proceeds are going, which is to free your mind to help young people who are affected by domestic violence. And it's all about just spreading that love and just making people feel like they're not so alone.
Well, Daniela, I said I was going to make you say the last word, but I just had to read this comment from Myrtle Roach. And she says, thank you for having me as a part of this amazing gathering. I loved every moment and will be getting my copy of Lockdown Life. Everything I've heard makes me want to read it from cover to cover and support the amazing cause. It's amazing and so very important cause. You're awesome, Danni. I received my book yesterday and I'm looking forward to reading it. Looking forward to it. That's from Pauline. Well done.
Yeah, thank you.
Well done, my darling. Love you to pieces. That's the end from me. Okay.
Well, we've got a competition winner. Faye, you can't do this.
Competition winner. You announce that. You go with that.
They've given me 2 names, and I can't possibly decide between the 2. That's not fair. So I'm going to give them to 2 people. Alea Gardis commented, liked, and shared. She's one of our authors. Poetry books she's written. You have a copy of Lockdown Life. Just inbox me and let me know your address, and I will sign that and post that out to you now. Yay! And then we've got Daryl Stanley, who commented and liked and shared as well. I'll get you a copy. So if you just inbox me, I will send you a message. And then I'm gonna do one that I will announce next Wednesday. All you need to do is just take a picture of yourself, hashtag Lockdown Life, and then I will contact you and then send me your address and I'll post another one out. Thank you.
Great stuff. Still coming in, Danni from Edu. Thank you so much. Fantastic evening. Congratulations, Danni. Looking forward. They're just coming in, Dan. I'll just have to share those with you, Daniela. So many.
Thank you so much. Can I call in the lovely team next door to come and just show your faces and say hello? I don't know if you're going to be able to hear this song again. If you can't, it would just be for our benefit. Can you hear this? No? No? You can't hear it, can you? Oh, never mind. It was a nice track.
Can we see your team from the back? Can we see the team?
Can I say thank you to my editor, Road and Mo Life, as well as Lee Dickinson, Oksana Kosovan, who's an amazing typesetter, Jay, who did the toilet paper here, then someone on Fiverr who did the fonts and the covers, which is amazing, to Lawrence Coke, who was a really great advisor in terms of what to do with the cover as well, and these 3 who I have annoyed for the last 2 months about what font to use. Come and say hi. Come in, come in, of course you can. Hi, hi, hi.
Wow, massive team. Great stuff.
So never mind. We'll just sing. Hey, Lockdown Life is really good. Lockdown Life is really bad. Lockdown Life is really brilliant. Lockdown Life is really good. Can I just say the book? These guys haven't been out for a long time. Yeah,
Okay, I'm gonna leave the party. Okay.
Thank you everyone for joining. Really appreciate it. Thank you for the love, and I'll put the link to the book. It's on my Facebook and in the comments there. Love you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you, Gabriella.
Bye.
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 I'm out of breath. Bye, Rachel. Bye, Sharon.
Bye. Take care.
Bye, Pauline. Bye, Stella.
Bye. Bye, Daniela. Well done. So proud of you.
Thank you.
Bye. Take care. Thank you. Rock it out, girl. Rock it out.
Bye, Danny. Nice one. I'm waving, but you can't see me.
We're in rhythm, no worries. Let me do it by myself.
Hear the music.
Thank you, Ingrid. Ingrid, you're amazing.
You are amazing, Danny.
Bye.
Bye.